Metal fans, welcome to the Metal Forever Music Defenders of Metal podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to defending the true metal faith, interactive show segments, interviews, tours, and metal music discussions. Now let's get on with the show.
Metal Mike, welcome to Defenders of Metal podcast, put on by Metal Forever Music. You didn't think it was going to be that pro.
No, well, I never doubt your geniusness, Mark. You just never know what's cooking. But hey, if it's Defenders of the Metal, I am all for it. So thank you for having me on.
Awesome. No, I figured as much, and I imagine you recognize that track, right? That riff. Sound familiar?
Yeah, that was actually. That track was, I think, if I still remember, that was the demo version of the song "We Are the Cross" from the Metal Worker album, and yeah,
that's true. Actually, that was an instrumental that you had sent me for the original MetalForever.com website, which I told our buddy Scott here from Rockbox Studios that domain name kind of got stolen from me, and then some dude tried to sell it back, so we ended up with MetalForeverMusic.com after that, but yeah, then you like that riff so much that you turned it into actual track on that solo release Metal Worker. So
that's right.
That was cool. So yeah, a little history on that little intro there. So anyway, Metal Mike, appreciate you joining. We're here with Metal Mike Kloschik from the infamous Halford band, but also a lot of other projects that he's been involved with and his solo work. But we're here really to talk a little bit about this show run you've got coming up, Mike. You're doing a little East Coast show run here to kind of end the year, and just wanted to have a conversation with you about, what's the genesis, like, why you putting these shows together, and tell us a little bit about, what's going on the next week or so.
Yeah, well, I think the idea of me playing on the East Coast just got a little expanded. As you know, once a year I do this big metal show in New Jersey, which is local to me. And then as we were looking towards, kind of like the upcoming year, meaning 2025 now, we realized that the anniversary of the Halford Resurrection record has creeping up on the 25th. And I said, well, since we're already going to be playing anyway, why don't we just sort of like wrap it up and add a few more dates and kind of go out and, and give a nod to the record and just kind of do that. So we were able to put together 4 shows that are happening, next week. Here we are, just about ready to go.
Awesome. And so the first show is here in Rochester, New York. I guess we used to call it Metal Town, USA. There's actually a lot of heavy metal history here in this city that we're in. Metallica recorded Kill 'Em All here. The old Penny Arcade where Motorhead used to come, and Anthrax, and just a lot of bands have kicked off tours here. Children of Bottom stored their gear here. So to you, I know you've been playing, metal music and going on the road. Do you have some, and you've also brought your solo band here to Rochester, New York, but what are some reflections for you on, coming to the city? Also, you've been to House of Guitars too. I know you've done some guitar clinics there. So what is it? What are some of your reflections of coming to Rochester and playing live shows here maybe?
Well, I think Rochester's always been sort of like in my mind as far as playing and music. It's not really that far from New Jersey, and we've been, you've been able to help us a lot come out and play there, and I think we've played there already like 3 or 4 times. That's even going back to like my Pain Museum band when we used to play Steel Music Hall, and that's going back years now. So we always made trips to Rochester, but they were not really frequent, meaning it wasn't every year. It was more like every 2, 3, 4 years. And I always thought about that. House of Guitar is a famous store. So I've done clinics there, meet and greets and things like that. So I always thought, that's why when we were doing these shows, and we had shows in Massachusetts and Albany locked in, I said it would be cool to add Rochester to it, and start there. And so yeah, I mean, I always think of it.
No, that's great. I guess the question too, as a metal musician, do you feel like, again, because there's been a lot of interviews with a lot of other artists and things, like, do you feel like it's kind of well known within the metal community for being like a really strong heavy metal town?
It's hard to say really what people think. I think it just depends on the person, that what they think. I mean, for me, Rochester, I think of playing there a lot. So to me, it's kind of like, yes, but I'm not sure what other people think. I don't know if they know the history of Kill 'Em All and, and all the bands that started
Yeah.
it. But if you follow like a lot of like 80s heavy metal scene, like, East Coast was such a big part of it in general, and Rochester was part of that,
Yeah, no, 100%. There's another podcast in this town called Metal Mayhem ROC, and they've done a huge deep dive series into like the history of metal here and this place called Lakeshore Records, and making of Kill 'Em All and all the, it's so I didn't even know like some of the history that was here, and some of the bands that have kind of sprouted from here. Even Joey Belladonna's from this area. So anyway, so we're super excited that you're bringing this show to Rochester. We're in a really cool club called Pineapple Jacks, right off the highway, plenty of parking. So it's got everything that a metal club, you would want in a metal club. Tell us a little bit about the players in this band, because they're all, they've got a great, resume, each of them for their own right. And these are all guys that have played on, big bands and, world tours. So, and you got an incredible, young, new he's not new, but he's a, singer that's, I guess, up and coming, Carlos Zima. So tell us a little bit about the lineup you've got that you're bringing out on the road.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of different things that have worked out over time of how I meet these guys, so I'll start with the drummer, Ronnie Lipnitsky, and Ronnie was a no-brainer for me because Ronnie is an amazing drummer and a great guy. So I was like, that's already a big plus. And now, additionally, Ronnie is a New Jersey guy, which allows me to get together and jam and rehearse really easily. And then if you know Ronnie, you'll know him from all these bands. Like he's done a stint in Overkill for several years, and recorded like several records with Overkill. And it's just like a perfect drummer for me, And we get along really well. So Ronnie's on drums, and on bass for the last few years is my friend Mike Davis, who, Mike's career really started in metal, more or less playing with Lizzie Borden. And if you guys ever watched the Me Against the World video on the Headbangers Ball, is how I met Mike Davis, So again, but I met Mike through playing in the Halford band, and Mike is the bass player in the Halford band. And when I needed a somebody, that was great and a good friend to play bass, I asked Mike. Obviously, he's familiar with the material and we get along really well. So the change in sound with Mike and Ronnie it's amazing. It's just a super heavy, tight. It's just a big sound to the band, which was great. And Carlos. Now, Carlos and we found Carlos on the internet through his singing through a song War Cry from a band Outworld. And we were like, who is this vocalist? And it was actually myself and Roy Z that were looking around, and I was at Roy's house recording something. I'm not even sure. But then Carlos' talent is really, really fantastic. And I asked him to sing on the Metal Worker record, but that's now, over a decade old. So I already knew Carlos, and when the spot sort of opened up for to have a new vocalist in the band, I just asked Carlos, and having guys in the band that are good friends, that I could spend a lot of time with, and the great musicians is super important, And then when you're not 20 years old, you already done stuff. You've been in bands, made records, made tours, so everybody's kind of seasoned, and there's no drama, which is like the only way I really like to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like almost like Say No More, right? Ronnie being an Overkill, right? I mean, just you got to be a certain standard drummer to even get a look at a band like that with the history that Overkill had. Mike Davis, I was actually at the House of Guitars the other day. We were dropping off some promo and show tickets, and I picked up a Lizzie Borden vinyl with the hot chick on the front cover, and flipped it over, and there's Mike Davis on the back. Actually, maybe we should bring a couple of those vinyls to the show for fans, and so yeah, he's got a long history, and of course he was in the Metal Gods band with you, Rob Halford's band. So Rob's got obviously a high standard, clearly, and then Carlos Zima. I mean, for metal fans that haven't really checked him out, he's got a lot of great content on YouTube. So in addition to some of the older stuff like with Outworld, which I kind of forgot that's how you guys came in contact. He's got a band called Immortal Guardian, where he sings, and he's got a lot of cool covers too. I think he did Diamonds and Rust, like an acoustic version, and just the guy can sing, obviously, and singing Rob Halford songs, Metal God songs is not an easy thing, but I mean live, he doesn't justice, for sure, right? I mean, without a doubt.
No, Mark, and then I don't mean to interject, but we do everything in the original tunings. Everything was recorded. There's no down tuning to anything. Like we roll how it was recorded, and it's Metal Gods, the Metal Gods, as we always say, often replicated, never duplicated.
Yeah.
Or never, or the other way. People try to duplicate, but you can never replicate the Metal God. But I wanted somebody who was their own vocalist and then deliver super high standard of singing. I mean, the songs deserve it, and quite frankly, the people that come to see us deserve to hear it correctly.
Yeah, and you mentioned your solo album, Pain Museum, which if metal fans are not familiar with those records, I mean, they're incredible in their own right, even though Carlos was not the singer on those. But your Metal Worker solo album is a combination of instrumental and tracks with Carlos singing. Again, I would call that I don't know if you want to call it a hidden gem or not, or what have you. But again, if you're a traditional classic heavy metal fan of the Judas Priest, Rob Halford era vein, to me, you got to check it out, because I mean, not only is the guitar playing incredible, but Carlos just does an incredible vocal performance.
Yeah,
I mean, you must have been really pleased with that record or album, I guess, or CD, whatever we're calling them these days. I mean, so he did an amazing job on that with you.
He did, and he's also one of the few vocalists that I would sing a song. I would send the song to, and he would hear it how I heard it, and you'd be like, okay, that's obviously a verse, bridge, chorus, and not songs that were always obvious, but he would never have like, hey, move this part over, I don't hear this, chop this part. You would actually hear it how I hear it, and you would write a great melody line, which is very difficult to find that partnership with a vocalist. And doesn't mean it's only way to do it, but it's nice when you have like that type of vibe. Every band's different, but sometimes you could get it something like that.
And I've said this before, it's literally, because I've seen this band perform multiple times now in different cities too, which has been great. It's truly an arena act performance coming into a club. I mean, when you're watching this in the club, you could very well be at Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, that's the energy that gets brought to the shows. We joke a little bit about the smoke and the amps and all the craziness that goes with it, but let's be honest. I mean, this is an arena show coming to a club near you, right?
Yeah, well, I've always been that's right. So like for me, like, I've always been, uh, that's right. So all the bands that I love have were bands, not all, but a lot of the bands I love, they were able to project it across a big stages, like Priest and, and Ozzy and Loudness. And these bands knew how to perform to a big crowd. And even though, I learned all the arpeggios and everything, my heroes were guys who were playing big stages and arenas too, so I was more of that type of guitar player at heart versus like a super crazy noodler who never played to that many people. And that's not it depends on your personal goals. But so yeah, so I love to have a big show because to me that's what heavy metal is, and it gets me excited to do it. It's like, you got to be in it to win it. We just don't show up just to play. Like, why even leave the house?
Exactly. So this is the 25th anniversary of the Resurrection release. I somehow, I don't know if you can see my little shirt here. I dug this out of the vaults, and I was happy I kind of could still fit in it. But I guess in many ways, it's hard to believe that it's been 25 years, right, since that album came out. And again, pretty much everybody in the metal community knows that was the album that pretty much returned the metal god Rob Halford back into like classic true heavy metal. He kind of had taken a little departure from that a little bit with some of the other projects that he was working on at the time. So when you look back and you think, so basically the truth is, I know you're humble sometimes, but you're part of like legitimate metal history. Like when people look back in the metal history vaults, they're going to say, wow, Rob coming back, to form his Halford band, then leapfrog into the Judas Priest era again, and then it's really it keeps metal alive, present day. So what are your reflections of that time and the music that you guys are making, and is it hard to believe that it's been 25 years?
Well, it's kind of hard to believe it's been 25 years because time is funny because I remember seeing Priest on their I think it was 25th or 30th anniversary of British Steel. It does not feel like that long ago. And I'm like, wow, look at that. We're there with the Resurrection right now. So it's like, it's hard for me to think how the Priest dudes were thinking about British Steel when we are there as a Halford. It's such an interesting thing. And then when I met Rob, which was 1999, and one of my favorite records of all time, Fight War of Words, I believe came out in 93 or 94. Let's say 93. That's only been 6 years since War of Words. And 99 is only 9 years past Painkiller, which came out in 1990. So the time seems so short.
Yeah.
Because from Painkiller to the Halford record was like, I felt like it was so much time has passed, but it really hasn't. So it's anyway, it's like a weird thing to think about. But I think it was a perfect mix of personnel, of players. It was kind of like a perfect storm of what we wanted. Rob's heart is reclaiming the metal throne, which he rightfully, did. I mean, there's only one metal god. And when we were recording the album, everybody kind of played how we played. So it wasn't like, let's dissect all these records and write songs like those records. Like the riffs that I brought in, like songs like Nightfall or Cyber World, they were just typical riffs I would play, in my apartment in New Jersey at the time, So it was a very, very straight up, kind of like a real ways of writing music. Rob was there for the process of creation of all the riffs, and then the idea of Bruce coming back to Maiden at the same time for the Brave New World, and us being part of that tour, a lot of great things lined up. And the only thing I kind of like, not like I dwell on it when I wake up in the morning, but I just know that in year 2000, there were not a lot of guitar players like running around in arenas with Randy Rhoads flying V's in United States.
Right. True.
Like that was a very rare thing. Like guitar solos were still not cool that much. There were some European bands that were sort of beginning to cross over, but you wouldn't have bands coming in. There was no Hammerfall or In Flames or Dimmu Borgir playing United States yet in 1999. You know, maybe very sporadic, but the market wasn't really open. So I felt like if I contributed anything, at least in some small part, I was able to contribute to that, maybe to that door, you know? And then I see all these guys now playing Randy Rhoads Flying V's and all of that. And it's like, you know, listen, Randy Rhoads had a Flying V before I started playing it. So it has nothing to do with me. But I'm saying that you played them when it wasn't cool. You know,
Right,
we did guitar solo when it wasn't cool. We did a traditional record, metal record, because we wanted to do that. You know? So anyway, those are little thoughts. Just
sure.
happy to have been a part of that, to be honest, really.
And you know, it's interesting too, because I picked up a copy of Live Insurrection the other day, and I kind of just flipped through the inside of it, and they had all the tour dates listed there. And I didn't know, like, you guys played a lot of shows after that album came out, and you recorded it and captured it, you know, all. It was great. But you know, there was an Ozfest tour in there. You guys went on the road with Maiden. Rock in Rio, right? Maybe I have it.
And
yeah, I'm sorry, right? Okay, it was after that one, right? It was after that, right? But you know, tons of touring, and you just took the metal to the people back then, right? And just kind of, I just remember there was like there's just like this excitement, like you said, that man, you know, heavy metal's back, and Halford playing with Maiden, and you know, Rock in Rio, and just the energy was just incredible, you know?
Yeah. Well, there were two big changes with two of the biggest heavy metal vocalists of all time. It's like Bruce returning to Iron Maiden after releasing amazing solo records, Accident of Birth, Chemical Wedding, returning to Maiden and coming out with a strong record, and Rob releasing a heavy metal record, and those guys touring. And the guys from Queensryche were on it. Now Queensryche was doing under you know, they were doing the Queensryche stuff, but he still had an amazing vocalist in Jeff Tate on the bill, and the guys and everything, of course. So it was a perfect thing, you know. Like metal was not playing big places in the United States, and we could. And what else is there to say? You know, I mean, it was exciting, sure,
no doubt. And you know, it's interesting too. The music just holds up. You know, for anybody that. It's interesting, a lot of Judas Priest fans did follow Rob into that Halford band time frame, but there's some metal fans that somehow just kind of maybe weren't paying as much attention, or like, you know, metal in general kind of was dropping out of the scene with all that grunge scene and everything. Everybody kind of knows a little bit of the history on that side of it, but the songs are they're really timeless, really, you know, and whether you put in Crucible or you put in Resurrection, or any of the releases that you guys had together. I mean, there was 4 albums total, spanning a lot of time. So that catalog's incredible. And back to the shows coming up, nobody else is really playing these shows live. I mean, these songs live right now. So I mean, you mentioned Fight, you know, Halford, your solo stuff. I know you guys sprinkle in a little bit of Judas Priest, of course. But really, if you want to hear these songs performed live, like you said, like they were written, I mean, there's nobody else really performing these songs at this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, I suppose not. You know, I mean, there are tribute bands out there performing stuff, including Halford stuff. But I guess if you think about it, there really isn't any other groups doing this. And to me, it's such a natural thing. I mean, to me, it's in the fiber of my being, you know, like that's, I mean, not to get all bizarre, but who is Metal Mike? I mean, I'm so tied into the Halford music. It's such a part of my DNA, you know. I get out to and shred some guitars and play songs that I was a part of, that people love. band, and I give nods to my favorite bands. We throw in the cover of always a cool obscure band, whether it could be Loudness, it could be Keel, could be Grim Reaper. It's just tracks that I grew up as a younger teen, just loving it, walking to school with my Walkman. And then we do stuff from Fight because I love War of Words album. And then people are always looking, and I don't want to play any Priest because I'm like, well, I'm already doing this, all the Halford music. But then people wanted me to play some Priest music, and I did. Well, I mean, why wouldn't I play music from my favorite band? And
Exactly.
I have the opportunity to do it, and people love it. I don't make it all about that, but I include it, and a lot of it I include it because I want to play it. And I love it. If it's true to me, then I know that people out there will know that it's real and it's going to ring with them. And again, the point of my band is never to be a festival headliner. Even going out on long, extensive tours, it's not. I just want to keep it cool and keeping the shows well attended and just have fun. And that's it, man. Commune in the spirit of heavy metal. That's all it is.
That's right. So with a few minutes left here, remind everyone, I know we talked about the Rochester show, November 12th, next Wednesday, Pineapple Jack's here in Rochester. Free parking, by the way. Where else are you going then? Where else is this? So if you're on the East Coast, where could metal fans go out and check out this show?
So outside of Pineapple Jack's on the 12th, we are going to go to Lowell, Massachusetts at Tafeta Music Hall next day, 13th. The 14th, we're going to be playing Empire Underground in Albany, New York. And on the 15th, we're going to return back to New Jersey, and we are going to do basically an annual heavy metal bash at Dingbats Club in Clifton, New Jersey. And that's always like a huge. Well, it's not a huge show, but it's always a packed house. And it should be great. Like, I'm really happy to kick it up in Rochester.
We're excited. I know it's a Wednesday night and people, weeknights, but you know what? Hey, man, you got to come out to the shows, support live music, and it's going to be an amazing time. Like I said, truly an arena performance in a club. Metal Mike, where can people find information about the shows? And what are like some of your social media handles, websites where people can kind of keep track on? Because I know you do other things besides some of these shows. Like you still teach guitar. You have a Ultimate Guitar Heroes Metal Weekend, which I'm always look forward to every year. I've had a chance to be a part of it a couple of years in a row. So where can people kind of keep track of what you're doing and where you're at?
Well, I think the best way to do this is really to go to metalmike.net, and all the links are there. If you want to find out about the shows, literally go to my Facebook, which is /metalmikec, as in vitamin C, and look under events, and you'll find all the ticket links. You find all the ticket links at metalmike.net. And you could check out my metal guitar retreat that we do every October. And what else I'll be playing? There's always something going on. I don't do millions of things every year, but whatever I do, I try to make it a cool event. So, and I'm sure our first time in Rochester on the 12th is going to be an event. It always is an event.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, it'll be great. So we're excited. So Metal Mike, so that's metalmike.net. Here in Rochester, it's metalforevermusic.com. There's links, like you said. There's all information about the shows. There's discount codes out there, which you guys make fun of me for. But hey, why not get your tickets early instead of waiting until night of the show? And
$5. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And no, Metal Mike, thank you, man. Thank you for keeping the heavy metal alive. Thank you for putting this band together and coming out and playing live music. Like you said, there's a lot of reasons why it'd be easy not to do things like this, but let's go out, let's celebrate the music, let's reflect on this amazing music that's happened in the past, but hopefully there's new music always in the future too, because I know you're always writing and being creative and you never know where things lead, right? So, again, appreciate you coming on today, and we're super excited to have you come to Rochester next week.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing everybody. First time at the venue. We'll see you then with Hybrid Nation and Starseed. Two
That's
bands
right.
opening up. So let's give props to them. They'll be playing super hard for you guys too. So rock on, guys. See you next week.
See you next week. Thanks, everyone.